Hello and thank you for listening to Willow Talk. Joining you today in the absence of Adam Peacock is me, Sam Ferris, also known as Producer Sam. And beside me is Australia women's captain, Alyssa Healy. Hey, Heels.
Hi. I think we just need to clear things up
Okay.
because Hads and I are here. You haven't introduced Hads yet.
I was going to leave it as a bit of a
yeah.
surprise, but yep, go for it.
Hads is back.
How's
But-
it's back?
We thought Peacock's not here. How good. We're in here. Keeping it real is finally going to become a thing. And all of a sudden we're sitting here and you're here.
Yeah, well, I've knifed Peacock. He may not return, and I'm taking over.
Well, I could have stayed on the boat in Europe because I thought I was coming back for the keepers to run this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
What's
Brad
your
Haddin,
keeping credentials?
I'll tell you what, we do have one thing in common. We've all kept on the MCG.
Okay.
Back maybe 2016, 17, they were doing, no, it must have been earlier than that, 2014.
Mm.
They were doing
A World Cup around there.
coloured ball trials for the pink ball test, the first
Yeah,
test.
after the test match.
Yeah, and I went down after a one-day cup game between Queensland and Victoria, and Cricket Australia needed a keeper, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. 6'7" keeper, and I've gone down there and they're using yellow and white and pink and green balls, and they're swinging. I'm just doing these ones, going, yep, third man, pick them up, fine leg.
Tough job. I remember MS Stoney doing that at the end of
Yeah.
the test match.
Yeah.
They're going out with a pink ball and trying to get used to
That
it.
was 2014. Yeah, that's right. So this was before then. So they'd settled on the pink ball there. So we do have something in common. They're,
All right,
they're my
I'll allow.
keeping credentials.
I'll allow.
Anyway,
No, I'm not having it.
Anyway.
I thought I was coming back in straight to the top job.
Yeah.
hey, you're still near the door, Hads. You're right there. And you're back.
I'm
Welcome,
back.
Hads.
Yeah, mate, I've had a great time. Went to the World Cup for touch football. Karina played in
About
that.
time you brought that up.
Yeah.
They won that over 40s. They had a good time. And I spent a bit of time in Europe. Went to all over Italy. Went to Hungary for a mate's wedding.
Oh.
Barely remember that, actually. That was a big, big wedding. Started at 11 and we didn't get the bus home to 4.
Jeepers.
11 a.m.
To 4 p.m.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a good wedding then. And then went to Croatia, UAE on the way home, and here I am.
Some of the photos you were sending through.
Oh, I didn't send any through.
Oh, bullshit.
I reckon phones ruin holidays.
You reckon?
You can't
Was
go
it great?
anywhere.
You weren't wearing many shoes.
Yeah, there was a lot
Lovely.
of feet I
Yeah,
saw
a
in
lot of
photos. Too much feet.
On boats.
Are they better than your fingers?
Yeah, they're straight up.
Yeah.
No, it was a good time. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
I've never travelled without the kids. We travelled a lot, obviously, for sport, but yeah, it was good.
Were they not there the whole time?
No,
Oh, really?
no. I just tied them to a tree. I gave them enough water to get through the 6 weeks. They had their school books there, but they survived. They survived.
Wow. What was the highlight?
The Venice.
World Cup.
Oh, right. Yeah, the World Cup win. Venice. Oh, I found that interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the gondolas, bit scary how it's sinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I enjoy the history of that, and all over Rome, Tuscany, and everywhere like that. Florence was good, but seen all the sights I had to see. But Venice was the one.
Makes you realise how old the world is.
Makes you also realise how good home is.
Yeah.
It does.
Don't
Pretty
take it for
lucky.
granted.
No, never.
Have you been over that part of the world?
Oh, I'm just waiting to retire so that I can spam you guys with holiday photos. I've been here working.
Mate, I tell you what.
I have been actually. I did go
Have you?
over there, but as a kid, so I'll have to do it as an adult.
Retirement is great fun.
Okay, noted.
Noted.
Should we talk about some cricket
Yeah, maybe.
or wicket keeping?
Yeah, we're keeping.
All right.
Yeah.
On today's episode, we're going to preview Australia's T20 series against Scotland.
That won't take long.
Recap England's big win over Sri Lanka and the form of Joe Root. How about that guy? Look over the WBBL and BBL overseas player drafts and finish with the sundries and submit our entries for the men's domestic one-day cup naming competition. Really excited about that one. Some good names that have been thrown up already.
Who do you like?
Now I'll save it for the end.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's been batter dominated, so I'm throwing in a bowler. Putting it out there.
This will be the last time. you guys.
I haven't seen many wicket keepers been thrown up either, actually.
No, we go sort of.
I've got one
Silent
for you.
assassins.
I've got one for
Yeah.
you. Before we get into it, a reminder to send in your cricket club trucker hats for you to wear, for us to wear. Hads has got his first one on today. Look at that one. Beauty for Hads. This one was sent in by Tom from North Eltham Cricket Club in Melbourne. Tom is a wicket keeper, so there is a wicket keeping element in this show.
Yep.
That's good, Hads.
Mate, I like the hat. Tom must be a good bloke because he's a wicket keeper. But I tell you what, Tommy, you have got a massive. I've had to fix this about 4 in. So, Tommy, here's your hat. Next time, try a trucker hat. But I tell you what, Tommy, yes, you're a good bloke because you're a keeper, but you've got a big rock.
Well, he's playing thirds at the moment. They're looking to go a bit better this year. They're called the North Eltham Wanderers. Appropriate for you because you've just been wandering around Europe.
I've seen I think I've seen Tommy on Instagram take a very good leg side stumping.
Really?
Yep. Yep. I think I know who Tommy is.
He looks up to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, he should.
So if you just look down, camera 2 over there, Hads, give us a wink.
Tommy.
There you go.
Outstanding cap. Thank you. You got a big rock, but I do admire you keeping on Instagram.
Beautiful.
I haven't seen Hads in like a normal cap like that since he was a player.
Yeah, I'm done, actually.
He doesn't like it.
Sorry,
Now
Tommy.
he puts that one back on.
There we go. So send in your club hats, not the felt baggy green ones like the trucker, a bit like this one that Tom sent in. We've got a few coming up. I've been getting inundated with messages on the Willow Talk social, so they're coming in. So send them in and we'll put them on. We're a bit longer than 2 minutes, but that's all right.
2
Good
minutes
start.
a long time, Sam.
Good start. All right, let's get into it. Australia versus Scotland. Is that from your recent holidays or? Are we...
I didn't want to follow through with that, but I'm just going to let that one slide. Carry on.
See, I've taken over.
That relaxed,
I've
Sam.
taken over.
That relaxed.
I've taken over Peacock's sense of mind. He would have gone straight for that. So,
Peacock would have understood at the next show.
Whack. All right. Programming note: this episode is being recorded before the first T20 National between Australia and Scotland. So, well done to the Scots for pulling up the massive upset win over Australia in Edinburgh. But having said that, we touched on it last week. Let's look at this series a little bit. Hads, you've been watching from afar. We've got these 3 T20s against Scotland, 3 and 4 days. It's all over really quick, 3 and 5 days. They're all played at the Grange in Edinburgh, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 2 p.m. local time, 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Watch them on Foxtel, KO, wherever you get your cricket. The 3 big quicks aren't going to be there. So your man, Nathan Ellis, is going to lead the attack.
I've said this before. I love it when the 3 fast bowlers have a rest together because I like to see how Nathan Ellis responds under pressure, how Sean Abbott does, where they haven't got the comfort blanket to fall back on the 3 superstars. So it's a great opportunity for those guys because there's going to be opportunities. There's a huge summer coming up with Test cricket, so you wouldn't imagine those guys will play a lot of white ball either side of that. So for Nathan Ellis, Sean Abbott, guys like that to have an opportunity to, stand up. See how Adam Zampa goes. Yep. He's been outstanding in everything he's done in this form of the game, but see how he goes without the comfort blanket of the others. So it's a great opportunity for everyone.
Also puts a bit more pressure on those bowling all-rounders because normally the big 3 guys hog up 12 of the overs. We spoke a bit about it last week, Midge, but it'd be good to see Mitch Marsh. And another one we didn't mention last week was Marcus Stoinis. Doesn't have a CA contract, so he's playing for potentially his international future here.
Yeah, I think that you could read a lot into this series in stories like that, but I think it's more about seeing the next generation, I think, is probably the most important thing. Even against the England, the games after that, I think are just going to be a little bit of a nod to the future and go, okay, let's give a couple of guys an opportunity around the comfort of some senior guys in there. But I think it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch. I mean, it's not very often that we get to play against Scotland, so what a cool opportunity for us to watch them unfold as well. They obviously had a pretty decent World Cup.
Mitch Marsh spoke to the media on the eve of the series and said there will likely be some chopping and changing with the 6 games all pretty close together. But he said the first thing they want to do is win for Australia. So is winning still the number 1 priority in all these games?
100%, no matter what 11's out there. And that should be the message straight away. And Andrew McDonald and Mitchell, that'll be the top of their list. No matter who comes out, if Cooper Connolly's playing, Bartlett's playing, your number 1 priority is to win the game. So there's going to be opportunity. The other one who's interesting has been a bit of the glue to this team is Wadey too. Yeah, he's got him out of a lot of trouble in the middle order. So Josh Inglis comes in now, not just as a batter with comfort blanket around him. He's got a job to do, control the middle order. He's got to win games and then keep. So yeah, I can't wait. Scotland are not that bad. They would have nearly
Yeah.
knocked off England in the 2020 World Cup. They're on target for nearly 200, weren't they? And the rain came.
They were 90 off 10 overs.
Yeah.
None for 90, yeah.
Yeah, so they're not that bad, and they'll see it as an opportunity. They won't care if Sean Abbott, Cooper Connolly, Tim David's playing. They just want to beat Australia, no matter who it is. So they've got a great opportunity on their home paddock to cause an upset. So I would have liked Mitch Marsh to name the team, though.
Yeah.
I like when Paddy does that
Yeah.
before.
What do you think, captains? You do it all the time. You're at tossers and pre-match press conferences.
Well, you just called me a tosser. I was like, yeah, go on. Yeah. Hang on a minute.
We've gone down a
I don't
terrible
like this guy.
path here. We've gone
Who
down-
is this guy?
Mate, I don't
Yeah.
know. You need to stay behind the camera.
You flip the coin.
Yeah.
You're a flipper.
Yeah.
Why don't you name the team for a game? Is it really a tactical advantage?
No, but a little bit of mystery is always good. Like
Yeah.
I love the speculation.
All right.
There's a lot of integrity behind the game now. It's like you can't really do a whole heap of stuff, but you can keep a little bit of mystery, right? I don't mind it.
Okay. I like them to name it. Get it out there. What's the point?
I
Why,
think
why,
if you're
why
playing
withhold it?
I think if you're playing a test match, it's the first test of the summer. You're going to name your 11, right?
Yep.
Let's just get it out there. Let's go. But like, I don't mind that. They're probably looking at the conditions a little bit, deciding on who's going to play as well. They haven't really played there much, so if ever. So never know.
Well, the other thing, it actually...
Or they
with
just
not
don't
naming-
know.
Yeah, they don't know. But we're not naming this squad. Scotland would have no idea what this 11's going to be. So they would have
Yeah.
to plan for everything.
Mm.
So that all of a sudden their planning that night narrows down to 11 because
it's
it's such a new squad.
Yeah.
That meeting goes now from 25 minutes to maybe an hour and a half because you've got to go through everyone. And you know after 25 minutes the players don't listen anyway. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a tactic with a squad
Heels
like
is
that.
nodding over here. You're the captain. You're running
Yeah.
the show.
No, I'm not. I was snoozing in the back corner. Yeah.
The other one we didn't mention last week was Aaron Hardy. I reckon he's got he's already played for Australia, but I reckon he's got a big future in all formats. And Mitch Marsh joked about wanting 14 Western Australians in the squad. He's got 7, and I think he even sort of alluded that they all might play. But Aaron Hardy, as you would have seen him a bit, what do you like about him?
I think he's got a huge future in the game. Where does Aaron Hardy fit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
is Aaron Hardy your next? Say you got the 6 best batters in is he the next best batter in the Test team? Could he be a number 3 bat? I'm not quite sure where he sits. Yes, he's talented. He's going to play a little bit of franchise cricket now, which is good. I'd like to see more up the order, just to give him a bit of responsibility. Because the one thing I liked about him in the Big Bash is when he was put under pressure, captaincy wise, he didn't panic. And to me, that's a really good trait. So could we push him a little bit this summer and get him right up the order for the summer in all forms and see if we can find another top order bat? We've got enough middle order batters, but I'm with you. He's talented. He's got a really good cricket IQ, which I like. And let's just now see which way he develops.
we've got a WA all-rounder. We've already got 2 on the team, the
Yeah.
Test team. Let's get another one in there.
Well, but that's the thing. If you want him up the top, then are you leaving someone like Cam Green down the order, Mitch Marsh down the order? It's like how does he fit in? How is he going to leapfrog? What is your pecking order? I don't know, but that's for people above us to decide.
Yes,
We don't
that's
have
right.
To talk about that.
Now, Australia haven't had too many battles with Scotland over the years, but Hads, you've been centre of a couple of them. Let's go back. You've only played the 2 games against Scotland in your career. June 2013, Australia A versus Scotland, tour game preceding the 2013 Ashes. I was lucky enough to be over there as the Australia A media manager
That was
at
your
the time.
first and last time, wasn't it? As a media
That's
manager?
right. It was.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I thought I did an okay job. The only thing I really had to do was shield the media from Farwood Ahmed. That was the only thing.
Yeah.
He was trying to get residency before the first Ashes test. That game, Brad Haddin scores 113. Peter Siddle scores 103. This is at the same ground that the Aussies are playing Scotland in those T20s. You beat them fairly comfortably in the end. That team, Silk, Doolan, Khawaja, Smith, Haddin, Henriques, Siddle, Pattinson, Agar, Lyon and Sayers. That game was the first of 3 Auss A games, and they played Ireland, then Gloucestershire. But the big memory, well, actually, before we get talk us about that Australia A game
Why
Best
were
tour
you?
ever.
Why were you in the Oz A team?
because the Champions Trophy was
Champions
on.
Trophy. And I'd
Ah.
just come back.
Yeah,
That Champions Trophy was when the Aussies got into a bit of trouble, actually.
that's when
Joe Root
Root
and
and
Davey
Warner.
went at it.
Yep.
Wadey was the keeper.
The walkabout.
Mate, the other
Yeah,
one,
that's right.
the interesting one about all that is they'd named the Ashes squad. So the Ashes squad,
Yeah,
all the players were there to get some volume. But our number 4 batter wasn't picked in the Ashes then.
that's right.
Oh yeah.
Nor was Mr. Agar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Steve Smith wasn't picked in the Ashes squad yet, but he played the first
I was
test.
like, he came in, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that
as
gets
soon
to,
as Buffer come in.
so that gets to the next point.
Yeah.
That tour really picked up right at the end when
Yeah.
Australia doesn't make the semis of the Champions Trophy. Rain and a bad loss
Yeah.
cost them there. Lots of disharmony maybe in the squad, but it had come off the back of homework gate.
Mm.
So Mickey Arthur was the coach then, and then the poor result of the Champions Trophy kind of led the CA board to make some decisions. And on one frosty afternoon in Bristol,
Yeah.
you remember this, Hats?
Yeah, I do.
Mickey got turfed and
In the
Buff was
car
named
park,
coach.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Tell us.
I tell you, that was an enjoyable tour. One more preparing for, well, not so much for Mickey at the end, but to play Scotland and Ireland, it was good fun.
Yep.
We had an absolute ball. We had Rod Marsh there as a selector. He spent more time with drinking Guinness with us at the bar and catching up with
Yeah.
all old mates. But it was also a bit of a selection tour for a few. There was a lot of conversation around Ashton Agar, which was really, really interesting at the time because Nathan Lyon was a test spinner.
Yep.
But all the talk was about Agar playing the first test. And I remember sitting there going, well, that's not going to happen. First test, remember,
Yeah.
played at Notts. Agar got 99, batted with Husey.
Easy, yeah.
So that was a bit of a weird time there. You sort of had a feeling that was going to happen. I never really believed it was going to. Then we had a good tour. We went to Ireland. We had a great time there. We sort of scrounged up a game after a bit of weather around. Nick
Yep.
Madison went nuts.
Yeah.
And then when we went to Gloucester and things just went weird. You just weren't
They
playing.
did, yeah.
It just went. You know how you're sitting in the change room, you see admin like
Yeah.
Pat Howard's walking around, Mickey's having meetings, and you're thinking
Yeah.
something's happening.
It's
here.
unnerving.
Yeah.
Oh, and there are stairs up to the change room.
Yeah.
And the amount of
Yeah.
guys went up and down and
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
down the stairs.
And they had the little room to the left of the change room where you could see in. There's meetings
Yeah.
going on, and then all of a sudden, Pat Howard was talking to Buff in the car park.
Yep.
Buff had to quickly take off from the ground, and you're going, well, Buff's the coach.
Yeah.
And he's saying, Buff, he goes, mate, I've got to ring Andrea.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
of a sudden, an
That's
hour
right.
later,
Yeah.
he was Australian coach. Mickey Arthur was gone, and we're all sitting on the balcony going, what's going on here? So
Cricket
yeah.
has a really funny way of handling situations really, really well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Awkwardly.
Poorly.
I've never seen a guy drain as many smokes as Buff did in that car park.
Blimey.
The stress levels were going through the roof.
But the interesting thing, and you would have been involved in this as well, but our tour was great fun, and you were a part of that as well. But, you know, when things, you're sitting there, you're thinking, there's Chinese whispers going on.
Yeah.
Something is happening
Yep.
here. Then you realise your pay grade's about the middle,
Yeah.
and you go, oh, hang on. This is one of those moments where you shut up. Something big's happening. You got all the big wigs here. We're sort of watching the cricket, and in the end, mate, it was tough on Mickey, but yeah, he had a bit of a tough 6 months.
Yeah.
But Buffer was perfect for that group then.
Yep. Just come off the back of
Yeah.
coaching Queensland in the heat. I remember during those games, probably with Scotland, that when the Champions Trophy was going on, we were asking Buff if he was coach what he would do with the test team.
Oh, no way.
And he was like telling everyone.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, he's the coach. And the first thing he did was get Smith in
Yep.
and get Agar in.
And Warner was on a band.
Yep.
He
went to-
wasn't allowed to train with
he went to
everyone. He
Zimbabwe
goes, nah,
or South
that's
Africa."
done. You're training with us, then you go into Strain A to get some form.
Yep.
Once you've got that, you're coming back. But you're coming back into the Australian squad. You're not going to stay. We're all Australians. Yeah, it was an interesting time.
I remember that his first day as coach, a couple of the guys were, probably half a dozen, were playing the warm-up with the soccer ball, just kicking around the ring. And Paddo has kicked one away. He's gone to chase it and he's hoofed it back in and it's clocked Buff right in the back of the head. That was like the first moment of him being coach. I was like, I hope that's not an omen. We lost the Ashes 3-0. But it was pretty wild. Buff was a completely different character. Made it fun again.
Oh, he made
to a
it fun.
degree.
Yeah, but he was about winning.
Yeah.
And learning to win and play the way Australians play. Mate, and nothing more. It was one of the funny things I remember on that tour. They were talking about batting and all the nuffies, like you had Silky and Moses and Smith. They'll be just listening to every word.
Yeah.
Buffer said, and he said, "Oh, what about leaving here? You got to leave well." He said, "If you leave the ball and it hits the stumps, give me your cricket bat. I'm giving it to my son because you're not using it." And Silky goes out after having the chat, left the ball, hit top of him, went off. He just walked up quietly, put his bat next to Buff, and walked in the change room. So yeah, it was. He made it fun. We had a good tour. Mate, Rhino played.
Rhino was outstanding.
Yeah. Didn't help. He was his knee was
Yeah.
bone on bone,
Yeah.
but he lubricated it a lot with Rod Marsh on that tour. So
Oh, the A tour. Oh yeah. I thought you meant the Ashes, but yeah, it was.
on the Ashes.
It's funny you talk about the guy talking to Buff. Every county ground we go to, he goes, "Yeah, score 300 here. Yeah, 200." Puts the claim mushtack into the trees over there. You know, put this guy over there. It's genius over there. That was 2013. A couple of years later, you play Scotland in a World Cup in Hobart. Australians saw you going to win that tournament, obviously. Scotland won 30 all out. Mitch Stark takes 4 for 14. Paddy Cummins 3 for 42. Haddin took 2 catches, and Australia tracked it down in 16 overs. Michael Clark opening, getting some time out in the middle, coming off that hamstring injury. But I remember cricket.com were in the meeting room with Scotland, and they were planning against Michael Clark, and the plan was to bump him early. And I think they executed it well. He gloved one and either just went over the keeper's head or they dropped it and ended up getting 47. But they put it to you guys. Scotland, this was what, 9 years ago? Hang on. Just let me finish my sentence.
We'll start it again. They did not put it to us.
Not in this game. But since then, they've really advanced. Tell us about that game when they didn't put it to you.
We rolled them for 130. We got them in 16 overs and we had a cracking night.
Yeah.
That was just before we had a big break after that. And we're just starting to work out what our team was going to be leading into the semis. But I shouldn't say this. Were you there?
You will.
Were you at that game?
I wasn't there. No.
So we'd planned a team event. So after Scotland game, we had, like, when you start a tournament like that, you have little moments in the tournament where you can go and do something together as a team. So Tassie was a place, so he went down. You know, Tassie's got great scotch, so we tried a bit of the scotch. And anyway, the long and the short of the story, we went out and had a few different drinks, and Steve Smith and I got a taxi home. So we left before everyone else, and the taxi cost us...
No, you didn't, but yep.
No, I promise.
Yeah.
This was one time. So we left
They
before
put it to you, mate. Trust me.
everyone else. So the taxi to get back to the hotel cost $30, which sounds simple. Then our batting coach, Michael Divenuto, goes, "What time did you guys leave?" We said, just before you. He goes, "How good was it that the club we're at, or the pub, was just across the road from the hotel?" and Smitty and I went, yeah, real good. And I said, "Which one were you, the last place you were at?" He said, "The same as you." I said, "Oh, yeah. And just straight across the road at the hotel." He goes, "Yeah." Some taxi driver, we've hopped in, said, "Where's our hotel?" Hopped in, took us around. Our hotel was right there. It was a good night.
That's karma.
It was
that
a great
serves you
night.
right.
And they're talking about it, like all the boys were laughing about it in the Qantas Club, going, "Oh, how good was it to just walk out and just walk straight to your room, have breakfast." And I'm sort of half listening to the conversation. Smitty was the same. He said, "Do you think they're talking about the place we were at?" And I said, "No, it couldn't be." So we asked some questions. The joke was on us. It was.
Oh, there's
That's
some taxi
gold.
driver who was like that night. How
Take
good.
advantage of them.
It's so good.
You weren't staying at the old wool store, were you?
Nah.
That the bar is in the building.
Yeah.
So
No,
you've left, done a couple of laps, then gone back in.
No, it wasn't that close. Oh, it was actually that close, but he got us good. I've never told that story before.
That's so good.
An original Haddin story. That's a box to tick. All right, that's gold.
Jeez, it was a good night.
That'll go on the social media channels. Don't worry about that.
Well, I couldn't even remember the score of the Scotland game. I was just looking here. I know.
I thought they put it to you.
Starkey bowled all right, but I didn't know they both got 4 and 3. I was thinking the Scotch.
Didn't you tell them to hurry up and get out? Because, we got a semi-final to think about.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Staying over there in that part of the world, England versus Sri Lanka. We'll get to some domestic stuff a little bit later on. But England won the second test at Lords by 190 runs, beating Sri Lanka. They lead the series 2-0. Unassailable lead. Gus Atkinson, how about a start to a test career with this guy? Player of the match. He scored 118, batting down there at number 8. That's his maiden first-class century. And he also took 5 for 62 in the second innings. He likes playing at Lords. He's had 4 innings there. He's on all 3 Lords honours board, taking a 5 for a 10 for and scoring 100. Third English guy to do that after Tony Greig. And Ian Botham, who did it 5 times, which is kind of amazing. I mean, we're looking ahead as Australians to the next Ashes series. He looks like a pretty good player.
Yeah, I'd like to see him play around the world first. But yes, I mean, what a hell of a start to your career. Most people would dream of being on a Lord's honour board at some point, but to do it as quickly as what he has, pretty impressive. But yeah, they're just too good for the Sri Lankans. The Sri Lankans put up a little bit of a fight here and there, but it's just not for long enough periods. But England are just still a little bit too classy in home conditions.
Yeah,
they need depth. They need depth to come out here against us, and that's what they're trying to do. Atkinson was outstanding, and the way he bowled would please England more than anything. Losing Anderson, Wokes, who you'd imagine would fill that spot. He's got a terrible record away from the UK. So Atkinson's good. They had Potts there as well. So they're starting to build a little bit of depth. Wood was quick again. At stages, he was really quick. He's not going to play. He's just going to play enough Test cricket to hopefully get him out here in a couple of years. But they need to build depth.
It's a good point. Wood going down was kind of like a glimpse of what might happen. So playing these guys. And do you think they need bowlers who can hit 140 and plus to come down to Australia?
They need some sort of guys to intimidate. We seen that last time the Ashes was out here where Wood cranked it up in the last test at Hobart. He made life uncomfortable for the Aussies, and they need you need a really good balance. You'd like to see Archer there. There was an interesting one that played his first test. Is Ollie Stone. So he's been around for a long, long time, and he's got a big tick. He can bowl 140. His injuries have been horrible, but they're just starting to try to get a little bit of depth. And those series against Sri Lanka, yes, you have to win. You can't not win. But in the back of your mind, you're just trying to build a little bit of numbers to say we've got a squad now, not of 9 players. We've got a squad of 15 players that can compete in the Ashes.
Do you think they'll? I know they've chopped and changed a bit with balls over there. Do you think leading into an Ashes series they might think about using a Kookaburra for a couple of county games just to see who can do what with it leading into our Ashes over here, or is that just crazy thinking?
They're doing it. No, they're doing it. They do the first 2 rounds and then the last 2 rounds, I think.
Right. Yeah, so you could genuinely pick on form at the end of the season then to go, right, you're coming to the Ashes, let's go.
It also vindicates them dropping Jimmy Anderson, right?
Yeah.
Atkinson might not get a game if Jimmy was still going around or if he didn't decide to call it quits. So in that sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make about the Kookaburra ball, because at the start of the competition in county cricket, if you bowl 105 max, that you can cause a lot of trouble. So when you're trying to pick a test squad, the 3 guys that bowl dibbly-dobblies, bat at number 8, average 23, been there, they dominate. But if you've got a Kookaburra ball, you've got to work hard at the start. All of a sudden, you get a better indication on what talent you got. So they've made a couple of pretty smart moves around developing their test squad to get ready for this Ashes. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll still win 5-0.
But also, like when the ball gets a little bit older and a little bit softer and you call to change it, you'll get an older, softer ball.
Yes. So, well, that is a debate. There'll be another show with that. I know Peacock really wants to talk about that.
We have
spoken about it.
Has he? I get a lot of messages about that from him.
Yeah. he's not a fan of same old England. That's right. It will be a properly used ball. One man stiff, probably not to get the player of the match. Joe Root, you score twin tons and don't get the player of the match honours. Someone must have done pretty well to beat you. But first time he's done it in his career, he's overtaken Alistair Cook for the most Test centuries by an Englishman. Now he's got 34. Remember one of those hundreds at Lords? Nicked one between you and you and Waddle at first set. You
It
sure?
was my last Test at Cardiff. It was off Starkey.
Oh, was it?
Yep. I remember going down in my crouch, and you never drop a catch.
No, it happened twice then because it
No,
happened. Okay.
That was.
I don't challenge Sam when it comes to cricket knowledge here.
Well,
mate,
he actually played the game, so I'll take you.
mate, I was dropped after that. My last test was at Cardiff. But I'll tell you this one. I went down to my crouch and cover wasn't straight. You know how you're trying to get your angles, and as a keeper, your job's to get the angles. And I was going down thinking, oh, shit, I should have moved cover a bit straighter because that's... Anyway, he's nicked it. He's gone low to your right, popped out. We would have had him 4 for shit.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I
got
It
never
wasn't
played
that one,
again.
but yep.
I never played again.
The one I was thinking of was like head height, and you both sort of looked at each other, and it's gone
Yeah, I
through and ended
remember
up getting 180.
Yep.
It was the one where Bell got caught down low of Smith at Gully, and it was ruled not out. And then someone tweeted about it.
Did I play?
Yes, you were there.
You were the one that let it go.
I wouldn't have let it go.
What, I didn't see it. Yeah, probably.
Maybe what I was bowling. Anyway, doesn't matter. But Root
We'll
scored
find
34
the, we'll
tons.
find the footage.
We'll find the
Yeah.
footage. Root scored 34 tons now. How's this? The Fab Four. So we're talking Joe Root, Kane Williamson, Steve Smith, Virat Kohli. As of the 1st of January 2021, Root had 1,700s, Williamson 23, Smith 26, Kohli leading the way with 27. Today, Kohli has 29, Smith 32, Williamson 32, and Root has doubled his tally to 34.
Amazing.
What a purple patch.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever he's doing, bottle it and sell it.
It genuinely looks like he's just enjoying his cricket. And I think he always has, don't get me wrong, but I think I don't want to bring it up, but the style of play that England are playing is sort
Yeah.
of maybe just reinvigorated him a little bit. I mean, he's a remarkable player that's continued to evolve with the game. His T20 cricket's just as good as well, but he
Yeah.
just doesn't play a lot of it. But he's almost just been able to play with a little bit more freedom, maybe for the first time in his career, and he's thriving. It's cool to watch as a senior athlete in a team. Like, he's been around a long time as well. It's cool to just see him continue to evolve and to dominate, really.
Amazing. Losing the captaincy as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he's taking the burden off a bit. What makes Joe Root such a good batter?
He just looks in control.
Mm.
He just controls the tempo of the game really well. And I think he's one of those guys. He's got a good cricket brain. Like, his IQ when he bats, he can change tempos of the game. But I just think he was one of those players. You're right that captaincy was just too much for him. He's the best player. All the media attention was around that. He had to score the runs. But since McCullum's come in, he's just said, mate, we just want you to play. And what we've seen is it's some phenomenal batting. He got a bit of a slap on the wrist when he was trying to be a bit too expansive, and he sort of pulled himself back and plays his style now. But there's a debate that he could get the only one, I think, that can get Tendulkar.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he keeps going on at this rate. I tell you what he would love, though. He still hasn't got.
Yeah.
He hasn't got 100 here.
Brings us to our next point, Bradley.
Mm.
Well done. The Fab Four. Let's rank them from...
Steve Smith. Oh, sorry.
Well, we know you won. Let's rank them from best to least best, because there's really no worst player amongst them.
No.
These are all titans of the game, all-time players, legends of the sport. But of the four guys right now, the Willow Talk research team has crunched some numbers. We've got their runs average, away average, because these guys are expected to dominate at home, right? And they do. It's how they stack up overseas. Their away tons and their fourth innings average in tons. And there's some interesting numbers here. I'll just quickly go through the highlights. Root's average is 51, Williamson the same, Smith 57, Kohli's dropped a bit down. He's down to 49. Their away averages, Root is 46, Williamson 45, Smith 52, and Kohli 41 and a half. Away tons, Root 13 and 130 innings, Williamson 13 and 95, Smith 16 and 104, and Coley 15 and 114. And now their fourth innings averages in tons. Root averages 41 or 42 with 200s in the fourth innings. Williamson 55 with 500s, super impressive. Coley 46 with 2, and Smith, this is the only sort of black spot in his career, 33 and no hundreds in the fourth innings. He got very close against the West
That's
Indies.
not a black spot.
Well, what are you saying? Because they win the games
Mate,
all the time?
we've already won.
Yeah.
He's just having a net there to get 50. We never have enough runs to chase.
Well, there have been some occasions where he could have done it. Let's rank them. Let's go from fourth to first.
Okay.
Do you want to try that? Go that way?
The form they're in now or overall?
All time. All time. There are no losers here.
Nah, because they're all
They're all
class,
greats.
they're all
yeah.
very.
They
very
could be
good.
all equal first, but we're not going to do that.
Well, if I'm just purely basing it on numbers, I'm going to put Coley as fourth. But I actually I rate him as like number one in everything. But if
Yeah.
you're purely basing it on numbers, Coley's going to sit fourth for me.
Well, you don't have to base it purely on numbers. It's your rank. It's your.
Nah,
Ranking.
I'm looking at it analytically today
Oh,
instead of
okay.
just
It's tough.
my fun to watch glasses.
I think you're right though, because he is the best white ball batter ever,
Yeah.
and maybe that has taken a bit away from his red ball game at
Well,
the back end of his career.
I think about how much cricket he plays,
Yeah.
and that's where I look at his stats and I think they're remarkable because of the sheer amount of cricket he plays
Yeah.
and the amount of pressure he's under.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at it purely analytically, he's going to sit fourth.
Who's your fourth?
Williamson.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
And
We're going
I'm
to be
a-
very different here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Kane Williamson fan.
Yeah.
Has he got 100 against us?
Yep.
When?
At a Gabba?
Gabba.
40 odd or something?
Yeah. So I'm Kane Williamson. It's interesting looking at I'm not really looking at the numbers. We'll talk more when we get to the top, but I think if someone to win me a game, I'd have the other three.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to bat for your life, I wouldn't mind Kane Williamson to
Yeah.
stick there.
Yeah.
He'd be one to say, but I'll put him at 4.
Okay. Third then?
Number 3, I'm going Joe Root.
Oh, wow. What about his numbers have him lower than the other two?
Well, I'm jumping ahead here, but my number one's Kane Williamson in that regard because of purely. I feel like it's just been him for so long, and to
Yeah.
have the numbers that he does and continually keep New Zealand in contests is like quite remarkable
Yeah.
to me. Whereas Smith's like always had somebody else around him to help him out a little bit, but Kane Williamson's literally carried that team for so long.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really hard because you look at Joe Root's numbers there and you're like, blimey, like that's a lot of runs.
Amazing. Yeah.
And to do it, Kane as skipper as well, like.
Yep.
All right. So we know you're 4,
Yeah,
3,
sorry,
2,
I've
1.
just named them all
So
now.
you've gone Coley, Root, Smith, Williamson.
From
Ads?
bottom up.
Yep.
So I've gone at 3 Root.
Yep.
2 Coley, and
Okay.
number 1 Steve.
Tell us why Steve.
I just think,
Even now.
yeah, I'm obviously he's Aussie, he's a big fan, but when Steve,
You were out there when he scored his first Test 100. Yeah.
yeah,
there's a few
but
ties there.
what I like about Smitty is when he gets into his zone. Remember we had that period.
Yeah.
Was it 2012 against India? When did India come out here? Or was it earlier than that? I might have even still been playing. Where he said to me at the start of the series, India won't get me out. I said, well, they will. Anyway, they didn't.
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just controlled the tempo of the game. He can bat in all conditions. I even like that he put his hand up to say, you know what, I'll open.
Yeah.
Like, and that to me, Steve Smith's at number 1. When he's in the zone, and to do it with the way he does it, like it hits different. Like if you had to coach Steve Smith the first day, you'd go, all right, mate, you've got to change your backlift. Your back shoulder comes through here. You'd change 15 things.
Yeah.
The only one backlift to ever go out like that
Mm.
and come back is Bradman's.
Yeah.
It is so. Yeah, I'm Steve Smith, and Coley was close second. The reason I like him is just the pressure he's got on him
Yeah.
to score runs all the time. Like if he doesn't score runs, it's a disaster in India. Everyone goes on strike for a day.
Yeah.
But the other one is
Yeah, but somebody else in the team always does. That's what I'm getting at.
is that easier though? Sometimes if you're playing in a worse team and you're the best batter, you don't have to worry about batting at a certain tempo.
But the pressure, like
Oh.
Kane Williamson's has literally carried that team, whereas Virat, like he's the best player in the world. Like, let's be real. But like someone else will always be there. Like if it's like Rohit Sharma might score 100, KL Rahul will score 100. He's got like Jadeja can score 100 at 8. So like he's always got someone else. Whereas I feel like if Williamson doesn't make those runs, New Zealand don't go anywhere near winning.
Well, I find that's an interesting one, and I agree with your point. But sometimes when you're in a team, and say you would have been in nearly every team you play, actually.
Yeah, I'd sneak off first ball, let someone else do it. Yeah.
No, where you would have played coming through, where if you didn't get runs, you lose. And that's a conversation about Williamson. Sometimes I find that easier.
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying, because if I don't do it, then we lose, so I got to do it. Yeah. Whereas sometimes you're like, oh, well, if I get out here, so be it.
Well, but you can play at a tempo, then you don't have to dictate the tempo of the game. You just got to bat and then hope. Where Smith and they're really good at changing the tempo of the game, controlling that period, taking a bowler on, getting another bowler in the bat. Kohli's outstanding with that. Root's been awesome with that the last bit. So, yeah,
I'd also like to preface my comments for saying that I know Ross Taylor did exist and he carried also that team, but
Brendan McCullum maybe.
Kane Williamson still going.
Yeah, he's
still going strong.
Gun Williamson.
Anyway,
you said Williamson to save a day or bat for your life. Out of the four, who's the most aesthetically, if I can say?
Are you going to edit that out for yourself?
No, I'll leave it in. Aesthetically pleasing to watch. I mean, I'd probably have Smith
Kohli.
at 4. I'd probably have Smith last in that.
Kohli and Williamson.
Oh, geez, Joe Root looks good when he gets 100, though.
Yeah.
Kohli, Smith,
Those drives.
Root, Williamson.
You still got Smith too.
Nah, Kohli definitely number 1. Williamson number 2. That back foot punchy thing that he plays is like, but Joe Root plays the same shot, but that's elite.
I find it amazing with Williamson how he gets his timing right when he flicks his bat around.
It's amazing.
Because the other three are so get your hands right, and just as he's running, he spins it, and his hands go in the same spot every time.
Can't get him out caught behind. His hands are so soft that it'll just fall short. Anyway, as we said, we're not ranking them from best to worst. It's best from slightly not as best.
Yeah.
They're all great players.
Amazing.
Just on Steve Smith, this is going to be a topic all summer until the first test match, even if we don't get the team until the toss. Where's Steve Smith going to not where is he going to bat? Hads, where do you think he should bat in the Test 11?
Where he wants. He's earned the right to pick the position he wants. So it's interesting how he went to opener. When that conversation came up, you had Marnus playing well at 3. You had Travis Head starting to understand his role at number 5 and playing sort of a Gilt Chris style of game. But as soon as the opening position came up, both of them said, I don't want to open. So Steve Smith's a bit of a victim of just being a great team man there as well. Like he said, yeah, well, I'll do it. If no one else wants it, I'm not insecure in my position. I don't mind a challenge. If they do move him back to 4, then there's not a place for the 2 all-rounders. And is that a bad thing?
No.
Yeah, because with the 5 test series, imagine Mitch coming in and Greeny coming in at different stages. So, yeah, it all depends on what he wants to do. And I don't think Smitty cares. I think there's a lot of talk about it. His numbers are outstanding at 3.
Yeah.
Like his numbers are outstanding at 4. So that's his best position. But yeah, I just think he was a bit of a victim of just going, well, if no one else wants to do it, I would do it. But now we've got to get serious because the next 2 series are massive.
Yeah, and that would be my point is that, like, where should he bat? I think he should bat at 4, 3 or 4. He can take his pick of 3 or 4. That's fine. I'd let him have that choice. But I think we need an opener and we need a back-end opener for the next 10 test matches on home conditions in India and the Ashes, right? We need to pick someone, stick with them and go, you're our next best option. We're going to do that, and we're going to leave our best player exactly where he scores all of his runs because they're two massive series. So, you're going to throw someone under the bus a little bit or throw them into the deep end, but I think it's like we're sticking with you for the long run, especially when they've got experience around them. Why not give the next opener a really red-hot crack?
What game style do you want to play? Like, how do you want to play against India? Like,
well, you got to survive up top. I think that's what you got to
or
do.
do you go the other way?
Take him on.
Say Mitch Marsh.
If you
Nah.
block out Boomerang
Why?
and hit the rest,
He doesn't. He's not the traditional opener when he started. David Warner wasn't. Kawaja didn't start as opener.
well, actually, I don't mind
points.
that because it's not Steve Smith. So there you go. Like, I'd be okay with that, but it's going to be a
It'd be
tough
fun-
ask for
it'd be fun to
whoever.
watch.
It's
It'd be
great not
fun
to
to
be a
watch.
selector.
Yeah,
It'd be fun to watch Mitch
Oh,
Marsh
yeah.
opening the batting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. There's not a whole lot of cricket between now and the first test. What, 4 Shield
A
rounds?
lot of Shield, yeah.
So we'll try and next Tuesday, Nick Maddinson is on the show. Adam and Alyssa spoke to him a little while ago. He's my pick for opener.
Oh, I'd love to see him do it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a better player now than when
Yeah.
he got picked.
Yeah.
A lot more mature.
Oh, just hearing him speak
Yeah.
when we sat down there, it's a great chat on Tuesday. You want to ride with him.
He feels ready.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's a great chat. There you go. Wrapping this up before a quick break. Brendan McCullum has been named England's white ball coach. So he's going to coach all formats. He's going to start January next year. Champions Trophy will be his first assignment, and he's going to go all the way through to the One Day World Cup in South Africa in late 2027. So a bit of continuity for England. Our main Moddy's not going to be there, but England Bazball in 3 formats.
I don't really have a lot of comment for it. I mean, they split the role initially because of the workload on the coaches, and then they're talking about it in Australia as well. Like, they chop and change coaches a bit to sub them out, but they literally did that for a purpose, and now have flipped back on it and gone, we want this guy all the time. So
They did mention that. They said the schedule's eased a little bit from now on.
look, if it works for them, good luck to them. But I mean, that lifestyle is not sustainable.
No. But the interesting... I
Will
think
Ben
it's
Stokes come back? Like,
100%.
Oh, really?
well, it's interesting.
Butler hasn't had a great... Like, Moddy he wore the brunt of everything.
Yeah.
So
He also won a World Cup, but people
Mate, he
kind
won
of
a
forget
World
that.
Cup,
Yeah.
and they knocked, but they had the same captain.
Yeah.
And by all reports, he controls a lot of that team. So Brendan McCullum,
Joss.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a great relationship with Ben Stokes.
Mm.
So do they say, okay, Ben, we want you right for the Champions Trophy and the World Cup. We'll manage you through there. And where does he play? Do you put him at the top of the order? Because that relationship, mate, they've done some extraordinary things in the Test match. And do you want to keep that consistency, or does he want to find? So I'm interested to see. Yes, I think Brendan's a good choice, but now let's see the snowball effect of what happens.
Yeah, there's going to be some dynamic changes.
Yeah, I think
which
so
will
too.
be interesting.
Watch this space. All right, stick with us. Short spell on Willow Talk. Be right back. Back here on Willow Talk, keeping it real edition.
Plus Sam.
I told you I kept on the MCG. Let through about 45 buyers.
You're like a basketball backboard, I heard.
Electric Wiki. Let's talk about the WBBL and BBL drafts. Took place on Sunday, Father's Day. Bit different this year with pre-selection and all the tiers. You've got platinum, gold, bronze, silver, the whole lot. WBBL draft was up first. Hurricanes had the first pick. Got a bit funky with it. They had 3 cracks at it.
Yeah.
They tried to take Soph Eccleston. They tried to take Heather Knight, and they tried to take Laura Woolvart. But with the way the draft works, the teams that they'd already played with could retain them. And so they forced those teams they forced the Sixers, Thunder and Heat Strikers to take those players on big money. which was about 110 grand as a platinum player for the WBBL.
Yeah.
So it takes a bit of a whack out of their salary cap. And then they got Danny White with pick number 4.
Yeah. Fair play to him. Sal loves throwing a few little things out there at everyone. But, I mean, the beauty about that is that all 3 of those players were going to get picked as a platinum pick anyway. So they didn't really force anyone's hand. They just kind of sped up the process by making them all just go in the first go anyway. But Hurricanes an interesting one. You look at their lineup, didn't sign a genuine quick. They've got, Nick Carey, Heather Graham, who can bowl some solid medium pace overs for them. A lot of spin, no out and out quick in the comp. Shabnam Ismail obviously went to the Thunder. So interesting, but I never really second guess what they're doing down there because they seem to just have a half decent side that plays pretty well every year anyway. So, but yeah, it was good to watch. Probably the most interesting call in my opinion was Deandra Dotton. Renegades picked her up first. Hasn't played international cricket for a while. We're actually wondering how a lot of those players that were retiring from international cricket were going to go in domestic leagues in the women's game with not a lot of other playing opportunities, but obviously coming out of retirement for the World Cup, so warming up nicely for the WBBL in the World Cup in the UAE. So that'll be interesting, but some really good picks all around, I think. Deepti Sharma rewarded for some really good cricket over the last 12 months. Gemma Rodrigues to the Heat as well. Obviously won't be available for a little bit, but will play a key role at the back end. And then Sophie Devine, just stock standard at Perth.
Yep.
She lives there, so.
Yep.
Your planning in this is there mock auctions? Do you sort of, we're all cricket nuffies, and you sort of look around, you think, oh, they're going to go need 2 spinners. Was there much planning that went? Did anything shock you in the draft?
No, I think I'm not involved in any of that stuff. I leave that to Pez and the powers that be. But probably from the Sixers' perspective, no. I think we knew with the pre-signing, you know who you're going to get at Platinum. We've obviously got Amelia Kerr. We knew Soph was available. Someone was always going to try and get her, but we were going to retain her. And then it was more about our third pick. So I think more so in the BBL draft, that happened. I think that threw a few mock drafts. Was quite interesting. But, I mean, the Renegades taking Alice Capsey in the middle of the draft could have been an interesting one. Maybe the Stars thought they didn't obviously retain her, but maybe the Stars thought she'd be an easy retention, but then Renegades stole her. So, I don't know. I don't think it was overly surprising to everyone.
And Phoebe, how close are we with Sixers? Getting closer? Like we bullied her yet? It's going to happen. The superstars always come to Sixers.
No.
Well, her mate Georgia Vols just come down from the Brisbane Heat and signed with the Thunder, so I dare say she's going to be hard to peel away from the Thunder anytime soon. But the Thunder looking good. I do have to say that, but Sixers also looking very good. So Sydney teams.
We'll win it.
Just on Dotton.
Yeah.
Have you been on the wrong side of a Dotton performance?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. But being behind the stumps, it doesn't matter. I just watch on fault.
Powerful.
But the biggest ball I've ever seen hit in the women's game was at Drummoyne Oval. She hit Lisa Sthalekar over the top of the pavilion, out onto the road.
Wow.
Obviously a heavy wind maybe, but
doesn't matter. That's a huge hit.
Big
I was
hit.
standing behind the stumps and I was like, that's the biggest ball I've ever seen hit in the women's game. So yeah, between her and Chamari Adapadu and Hayley Matthews, the 3 of them are Australia's worst nightmare.
Adapadu, good pick up by the Thunder.
Yeah, good. She had a good year last year. Obviously, player of the for the Thunder, player of the tournament, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, and obviously going very well for Sri Lanka. I'd be interested to see how she goes this World Cup, and she loves playing against us, so we're in for some strife.
It's interesting when they do have really good years, when overseas come. Like Vince has done it outstanding. He's been consistent the whole time for the Sixers. But what tends to happen a bit is you get a lot more footage. You play with them a lot more in different leagues, and you find out what ticks. So come next year, there might be a different field. You got a different bowler. It might be someone you don't talk to, or it might be someone Heels goes at.
Yeah.
So you start to learn a bit more about the players, and it's not as easy the second year sometimes just to rock out, get on your front foot and control the game. So just watch for that.
But the beauty of it is, like, someone like Adapadu is like we always talk about second year syndrome, in
Yeah.
particular for our domestic players. Like some of the young kids come in and they have a really good first season, then you work them out, and it's harder for them. But Adepanu's been doing it for like
Yep.
10 years plus for Sri Lanka, and some days you just cannot stop her. Her hand-eye coordination is ridiculous, and then other times she'll like just nick off for fun. So you just never know what you're going to get, that's all, and it's a bit scary.
One player who was overlooked, Harmanpreet Kaur of India.
Mm.
Any surprises there, Hills?
Um.
How did you feel about it personally?
Oh, look, it is what it is. I'll happily not play
The smirk.
against her in the WBBL. She's obviously a very good player. Yeah, an interesting one. I think has tended to underperform a little bit in the WBBL, but I'm a little bit worried about what that might mean for a World Cup, being overlooked like that. But schedules are starting to play a part in domestic leagues. We're meant to have a blockout window, but there's obviously India play New Zealand at the first little bit of WBBL, and South Africa play someone at the back end. So it's like availability is a key, and the Renegades obviously went in a different direction and went for who's available the longest. So yeah, interesting.
WBBL
And
starts.
the kids, the young superstars were coming through. Who's going to light it up?
I'm intrigued to see how the Heat go, actually. I think they've obviously been stripped a lot of players. We've taken Kerr, Vol's gone here, we've taken Sipple as well. Interested to see how like the Charlie Knots go up there now, given a little bit of extra air to sort of just go out and perform. I'm intrigued to see how they go, but I think it's a big WBBL for like the Taylor Lemmicks, the Georgia Warehams, the Sophie Molyneux. I've just named 3 from the Renegades, which is terrifying. But like those girls that are now like or borderline senior players in WBBL teams at the age of 21, 22, 23, it's a huge summer for them, I reckon.
It is, and that all starts on October 27 at the Adelaide Oval. The BBL draft, Stars got Ben Duckett with the first pick.
Yeah,
I personally didn't see that coming, but
Well, everybody did.
Yeah, well, they got very strategic with your picks now.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Cameron White did an outstanding thing with the first pick.
for pick 2.
Vince.
Yeah.
Mate, Vince, you know, he's going to be here the whole time. You know, he's going to average around 35 at a $1.20 strike rate. So he made sixes get him, because if you look through the list, the draft was actually set up to bring the superstars into the game. Like guys like Vince now are getting paid $400,000 because they're consistent. Are they going to bring the crowds in? No, but are they going to contribute to a team winning the comp? Big time, because of consistency. So to me, it's just like watching the draft was like watching the 100 draft. Actually, there were so many English. Pick most teams have 2. There's a few West Indies in there that we haven't seen before. Fabian Ali, he'll be interesting. He will be as an athletic fielder as you'll ever see. He's got a great power game. He's also got the Thunder. You got Rutherford, left hand number 6. Mate, he's got extraordinary power. Won't run that much between wickets, but I tell you what, when he hits the ball, then it to me was just like they looked for players that were going to be here the whole time that can complement your list. And the other thing about that is you've got your Aussies boys playing at the back end, whether they're cooked.
Maybe.
Yeah. There's
maybe.
a pretty tight window there, isn't there?
I think another really good signing was Hope
from
the Hurricanes. He can keep wickets as well if you need him, but he's got some pretty special knocks in him. His performance in one-day cricket, I think he averages 50. He'll enjoy the wickets here with a little bit extra bounce. So, yeah, it's just an influx of English.
I know, a year early.
Yeah.
How we feel about that?
It's good for the comp.
Yeah,
I like it.
Look at him. No Jofra Archer, though. Would like to see Jofra.
Interesting. Alex Hales as well.
Yeah.
Didn't go anywhere.
Is that because of the T10 leagues, and he might be...
Availabilities are coming into it, like I said, in the WBBL as well. So they want to... If you're picking someone as a platinum pick, you want them to be there the whole time, or it's Andre Russell. Someone that's going to bring you crowds for 4 games.
I think we'll see a few of those guys come in. If you
reckon?
Yep. I really do. If there's some injuries, you might get a Russell or Jofra Archer to come in for a game, because if they do come in for a game, remember in an Ashes campaign,
Yeah.
all the English want to come out here. You might have Archer, if he's not in the squad, they might want to be out here playing. So, yeah, I enjoyed the draft. I didn't think there was much. There were some good players,
Yep.
but there wasn't any superstars on offer.
Mm.
But there's some really good players that contribute to lists. So,
Still good to watch.
yeah, 6 is a winner.
Like it.
We're going the double,
I
are we?
was just
Yeah,
looking-
right.
I can feel
Just
it.
looking at the Thunder roster, it's pretty good too.
Thunder looks good.
Yeah.
But the 4 Sydney teams throughout the WBBL, BBL look really good. So,
So Scorchers win.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think the Renegades in the men's went.
And the women.
Yeah.
The Renegades are a
yeah.
bit scary.
I
Yeah.
like him under Cam White. See what he brings to them.
Well, the one thing Whitey would bring, he's had a good apprenticeship, and as a first-time coach, he'll enthusiasm.
Yeah.
He'll prepare really well. He won't. He'll allow that Renegades team to play.
Yep.
He won't put a lot of restraints on them. He's got some talent there. Like obviously got Jake Frazier. You got young Harvey, mate,
they got-
Josh Brown at the top.
Yeah, true.
Too.
Well,
So
Gorinda
yeah.
down from.
And the signings that to put around them, with Laurie Evans and that bit of class, it's I think watch out for them.
It's going to be a good summer. That starts on December 15 over there in Optus Stadium. Let's get to our sundries. Cricket Australia is running a competition to name Australia's domestic men's one-day trophy. I'm all about this. Fans can submit their own entries via email or vote from a pre-selected list at cricket.com.au. Fans of state and territory associations, grassroots cricket clubs and the players themselves will all have a say. The key criteria is as follows. The player must have an elite record in the domestic men's one-day cup, HADS, tick. Be a top ODI player for Australia, tick. And be a player who had a major impact on the game. We already have the Sheffield Shield, tick, sorry. We already have the
Couple of World Cups.
we already have the Sheffield Shield for the men's first-class comp and the Ruth Pretty Cup for the Women's National Cricket League. Shortlist will be announced in the opening round of the Summers comp, which starts on September 22. All right. Should we throw some names out there?
Andrew Simons.
Oh, straight off. Love
like
it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I don't think whoever they pick can be wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Like Dean Jones, for example.
Yeah.
Good one.
Mate, he was probably a bit of a pioneer before his time. His athleticism in the field, the way he ran between wickets. But then you go through the list. He's at the War Cup. Like Mark and Steve were pretty handy.
Yep.
Haydos dominated, Ponting, Gilchrist. Mate, where does it end? I tell you what, not many bowlers get thrown up.
No.
That's where I come in. I'm taking James Hopes.
Yeah.
and calling it the Catfish Cup. He's the leading wicket taker in the competition. Great all-rounder. I think he might even be close to playing the most games. Get him in there. Stuart McGill, second. He took like 2.5 wickets a game, but
Probably
maybe-
not.
Probably not McGillar, but if we're going to keep on the New South Wales theme, I mean, I feel like it's Bevo's to lose. I love the Roy
Yeah.
one. I love
Yeah.
Dean Jones.
The
Like you
Roy
said,
Cup.
yeah, like you said, there's going to be no wrong
Nah.
choice. But
Is
Bevan,
this-
I mean, when I think of one-day players for Australia, I mean,
Yeah. Is this like, are they naming it forever now?
Yeah.
Or, oh,
yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, like the Ruth Pretty, it's going to be the
Yeah, sure. I just thought maybe the next year the fans get to vote again. Or
no,
like,
no. I think
oh,
this is it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that does make it a bit challenging, but I stand by mine. You're right, though. The first thing you think of is Michael Bevan, I think. But that's our generation
Yeah,
thinking
right.
like that. I
Yeah.
wonder if everybody thinks the same.
Well, the first one I thought of was Dean Jones and Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, that they are great people as well, and they're no longer with us. But mate, Dean Jones, as we said, changed the way one day was played. Then Roy just jumped on top of that and took it to a new level.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mate, he bowled off spinning medium pace. He was aggressive in the field. He's a presence, and he was also a bit of a character of the game too. So yeah, I like that too.
Yep. I mean, Brad Hodge, most runs, most centuries. He'd be a bit unbearable if they named it after. He's coming on the show later this month, Hodgie.
Yeah.
He's coming on the show. But, yeah, let us know. Hit us up on Willow Talk socials who you think was a front runner to be named.
I want to think outside the box. Give us a bowl or someone. Give us a good
Yeah.
reason.
No, give us a wicket keeper.
Oh, yeah.
The Healy Cup
Was Uncle Ian any good?
he was the best clubman. That's all I
Yeah.
look at.
Yeah, the stats.
What about the Brad Haddin Bowl?
Oh
Does it
yeah,
have
you
to
could
be a
be a
cup?
bowl.
You could be a
The
bowl.
Brad Haddin
No, you got
trucker
Gilly.
cap.
You got
Gilly.
Gilly.
Trucker cap.
Find
Imagine
a
wearing that
sponsor.
thing
You win a
around.
cap at the end of it.
Man, I've
Yeah.
got some.
Big
I've
gold
had some
thing.
new truckers sent to me
Have
actually.
you?
Hey.
Some real good ones.
Maybe got the cricket club caps coming in.
Yeah, Tommy's head's too big. Stretched it.
All right, quickly wrapping things up. Bangladesh beat Pakistan the second test in Rawalpindi by 6 wickets. That means they swept the series 2-0. The win is Bangladesh's 4th win in their past 20 tests overseas and only their 3rd test series win overseas ever. Pretty remarkable stuff there by Bangladesh. Their rise as an international cricket team of note is
Pakistan in
increasing.
trouble. Though.
Pakistan, though,
Big trouble.
Jason Gillespie, that's a tough first series as
Big
coach.
trouble.
Did you hear what the new Bangladeshi chairman of the board said
No.
before the series? He goes, Chandika, Chandika,
Yeah.
the coach of Bangladesh, he said, Chandika's no longer good enough to coach Bangladesh. He's out.
Oh.
Before the series start, and this is what happens. So, mate, where do you go from there?
Don't know. Get Buff in.
Mate, poor Chandy. He's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
knocked off Pakistan. Jason Gillespie, mate, enjoy life.
welcome to
mate.
Pakistan
enjoy,
politics.
Big
enjoy
trouble.
Yeah.
life. Next series, Pakistan will dominate no matter where they play.
Yeah.
But tough start for Jason Gillespie and Tim Nielsen.
Great seeing Pakistan hosting Test cricket again
Yeah.
in national cricket, but they've haven't won their past 10 tests at home.
Too flat.
For
100%.
Too
4
flat
draws,
for 'em.
6 losses. Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's spice them up. The World Test Championship final is going to be played at Lords next year from June 11 to 15. There's even a reserve day. If that match was played tomorrow, it would be India-Australia again, according to the WTC points table. New Zealand in 3rd, then Bangladesh. Who knows? England and South Africa. So this summer is going to be huge on that, particularly for Australia. They really need to get
Well,
some
we've
points.
got 7 tests left to qualify.
Yeah.
The 2 in Sri Lanka.
Don't have the greatest record in Sri Lanka in
Yeah.
recent times. So, yeah,
Interesting.
that's going to be interesting. And finally, the Queensland Bulls had a pre-season camp on Andy Bickle's farm. Didn't sound like there was a whole lot of physical activities there. They ran out a 12-kilometre run and they got the chainsaws out and started doing some farm work. But you got any memories of some pre-season camps to round out the show?
Mate, I've got some good memories, actually. Steve Rickson used to like to take us down to Albury. Mate, had a couple there. We've obviously had the famous one in 2005, 6 after the Ashes debacle over there. We had that one. That's well publicised, and I know the SAS soldiers do a wonderful job, but Warney broke them.
yeah.
He broke them down mentally. But
Yeah.
I remember another one we did. We sort of kept it in Sydney, a bit over in Maroubra, and we did a bike run and swim, and you do all the different things, bonding. And I remember I was in about 2nd place. It might have been 2nd or 3rd start in the doing the run, and they're just about to jump in to do the swim. It might have been Greg Mail. It might have been Christo jumped in before me. And I'm standing there, and the bloke goes, Hads. He goes, what are you doing? I said, oh, mate, I've got to finish this swim. I've got to go up and across. He goes, I'm fishing for a shark. There's a shark
What?
spotted here. And so I just stopped. I said, I'm not going in. And the trainer's blowing up. A shark won't get you. I said, mate, go for your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it must have been Maley. Maley took his goggles off because I yelled out and told him what the bloke was fishing for. He took his goggles off, put them in his hand, and I said, why are you taking your goggles? He said, I didn't want to see the shark bite.
Yeah.
And we had 15 other blokes standing there. I think it was Andrew May who was yelling, let's get in the water. And I said, mate, no. I'm not getting in the water. And what we later found is in Maroubra, they got a gun range as well. And Don
Jeez.
Nash, big,
Yeah.
the Weber,
Yeah, the Weber.
he's just ran straight across. So we weren't the smartest squad then.
Across the shooting range.
Yep,
it's
straight across.
like a scene out of Super Troopers.
Yeah. But I wasn't going in
They
the
could all
water.
play
The
cricket.
trainer, you know
Yeah.
how they get all sensitive. A shark won't get. I said, mate, that's great feedback.
Yeah. You'll lose your job if I lose a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting in.
Yeah,
And then no one else got in. Maley swam back by himself.
right. What do you got, Heels? Can you top that?
Well,
Shark
no, I
bites,
can't top that.
shooting range.
But the funniest one I've been a part of was when we went camping somewhere. I can't remember where we were, probably in like the Kangaroo Valley or whatever. And like everyone's intense, right? And you can hear everything intense. So we get up in the morning. We're like, I'm not going down that path, Bradley.
We're really bookending the show, aren't we?
Anyway, we're up in the morning. We're off for an early kayak or whatever, canoeing thing, whatever we're doing. Anyway, we go. No one even notices the thing. This is a breakers camp, by the way. Everyone's doing that. We come back to camp. There's Alex Blackwell sitting by the fire by herself. We'd left the captain at the campsite. But then I'm like, how did you sleep through everyone waking up in the morning, like making an absolute noise to get themselves up, complain about getting on the bus to go on the canoe, whatever. There's Alex by herself lighting a fire, ready to get everyone ready. She was the happiest person on the planet because everyone had just left her alone. But it wasn't a good team bonding experience when you leave the captain behind.
I've got another one. I did my knee. I did my meniscus in my knee. We went paintballing. You know,
what a time.
I remember you go,
Can't do that anymore.
You have your you're not allowed to do it anymore.
Well, I don't think that hasn't been brought up since probably you did your knee. But
Well, we won the day.
Is that when you did your knee celebrating?
No, getting us in the position to win. So I remember crawling up and I was on lookout and you're laying down, you're coming over. And I went up to shoot. And all of a sudden they were coming and I went boom, boom, boom. And I jumped over so I couldn't get hit. Hit my knee, gave way, and I kept going shooting. The others got it. But I got us in a position to win. And about 3 days later, I said to the physio, I said, Paddy, my knee's locking. He goes, have you done anything different? And I was one, I didn't worry if he got injured playing touch or anything like that. I didn't want to lose those games. I said, I'm not sure. I said, in the net, something that caught the other day. And anyway, he sent me for scans. I had to go get surgery and clean out of my knee. And he said, how did you do that? He said, I'm trying to work back. I said, remember paintball? He said, don't tell me. I said, I don't think you want to know the rest.
Just clean it out.
But
get it done.
my group won. I got 2 of them when I jumped over, but then when I had to jump over the barrel or something, just sort of gave way.
Sacrificial lamb.
So I've had 3 operations on my knee. I don't.
This wasn't part of the sundries.
No, you've got to laugh. You'll laugh at this. So keepers should have bad knees.
Should.
1 with paintball.
Yeah.
2 mucking around at training and playing soccer. And 3 at Nottinghamshire, a cab driver reversing back into my leg.
Yeah.
And everyone says, Hads, how are your knees from keeping? I said,
They're fine.
never
Fine.
an issue.
Rigid
Yeah.
edge.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great episode of Willow Talk.
We actually need you here. Can you imagine if it was just Hads and I on this? We'd be here for 3
don't
hours.
just go like that.
It's not happening.
Yeah. Next week, we're on.
I know it's a 7 out of 10 with me and here at a Peacock, but with just you two, it plummets to a 3 or 2.
Well,
No,
we
it'll be
don't know.
gold. We're opening up a whole new market.
I'll just say less. How's that sound?
No,
I'll just press the buttons.
No.
That was Willow Talk. Tuesday's show with Nick Madison. Peacock actually does that interview and me during that one as well. Great chat. And then we're back again next Thursday. Thanks for listening.
Keep it real.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.